American growers in their 50s and 60s are spending $400 to $600 every single year on supplement bottles. And this July, the exact plants inside those bottles are flowering in backyards across this country, unrecognized and unharvested. Not because those growers are careless, because nobody ever showed them what their grandmother already knew. These 16 healing herbs replace that entire supplement bill permanently. One growing season, one backyard, zones 3 through 10. And the one at number 10 kept it quietly off every mainstream shelf for 3 generations. Here is what most miss. Plant number 1, purple coneflower. The supplement aisle sells Echinacea immune capsules for $120 a year, and this July, that exact plant is blooming in American backyards from Minnesota to Georgia, completely unharvested. Its flowers open in a perfect purple ring cone raised, petals catching July light like something designed to be noticed. Zones 3 through 9. Full sun, well-drained soil. What almost no source tells you is that Echinacea's root carries 3 to 4 times the immune-active compounds found in its flowers. The supplement industry standardizes from root, not bloom. Documented by the USDA Plants Database and University of Maryland Extension as one of America's most studied traditional immune herbs, used continuously since colonial apothecary practice. One established plant replaces $120 per year in immune supplements, permanently, every July, compounding season after season. The single mistake most American growers make is harvesting in year 1 or 2 before root maturity is reached. That impatience costs them the full medicinal yield, and another $120 back to the supplement aisle. Your July window for peak Echinacea potency is open right now, and it closes the moment those cones turn fully brown. Drop your state in the comments right now. Your USDA zone completely changes which of these herbs performs at full medicinal strength for you. And the plant coming next was growing in every colonial American kitchen garden, and it quietly replaces $80 a year in sleep supplements. Most growers are still buying every month. And somewhere in this video is the story of a woman in Ohio spending $55 a month on supplements, while those exact plants flowered in her July backyard. That story is coming. Keep watching. Plant number 2, passion flower. While American growers are spending $80 a year on sleep aid supplements, this vine is flowering right now in July, producing one of the most documented calming herbs in traditional American apothecary practice. Its bloom stops people cold, an intricate purple and white spiral that looks nothing like anything else growing in a July garden. Zones 6 through 10, full sun to part shade. Average soil. What almost no grower realizes is that passion flower doubles as a full privacy screen, one vine covering 12 feet of fence by midsummer, while simultaneously producing a July harvest worth $80 in annual sleep supplement replacement. Documented by University Extension Services as a traditionally used calming herb with continuous use in American home apothecary practice since before pharmacy chains existed. A single established vine replaces $80 per year in sleep aids, compounding that value every July permanently. The mistake most American growers make is harvesting leaves before the flowers fully open in July. Stripping the vine too early cuts medicinal yield by half. That single timing error costs them the full harvest and sends them back to the supplement aisle for another $80. July is the only month passion flower opens fully. Harvest leaves now at peak bloom, and this vine delivers its complete calming yield before August closes the window. Have you ever grown passion flower directly in your garden? Not a pot, not a greenhouse? Drop it below. And the plant coming next replaces $90 a year in supplements. Most growers walk right past it every July. Plant number 3, Calendula. American families are spending $90 a year on skin repair and wound care products built around this exact flower, while it blazes orange in July gardens from Maine to Oregon, completely unharvested. Its blooms open in concentric rings of deep gold and amber, so saturated in July light they look almost luminous against green. Zones 3 through 10, full sun, average soil. What almost no source mentions is that calendula's medicinal resin concentrates in the sticky bloom base, not the petals most growers harvest, making technique the entire difference between medicine and decoration. Documented by USDA ethnobotanical records as one of America's most continuously used traditional wound healing herbs since colonial practice. One plant producing 30 July blooms replaces $90 annually in skin repair products. compounding every season permanently. The mistake most growers make is deadheading before separating the resin. Rich base, discarding the most medicinal part. That single error eliminates the primary healing compound and sends them back to spending $90 a year on products built from what they discarded. Calendula blooms every 2 weeks through July and August. Deadhead correctly, and this plant delivers a continuous medicinal harvest all summer. Did you believe calendula was only a garden flower with no real healing use? Be completely honest in the comments. And the herb coming next was in every colonial American kitchen, replaces $90 a year in supplements, and most growers have never known what it actually does. Plant number 4, bee balm. Every colonial American kitchen garden grew this plant not for its Scarlet July fireworks, but for the oregano-thyme hybrid flavor its leaves carry and the respiratory support its documented traditional use delivers for $90 a year in supplement savings. Its blooms erupt in July like something painted, spiky scarlet crowns drawing every pollinator in a quarter mile. Zones 3 through 9, full sun to part shade, moist, rich soil. What most growers never learn is that bee balm contains thymol, the same active compound in commercial respiratory products, documented by University Extension as a traditionally used antimicrobial herb in continuous American colonial practice. USDA Plants Database confirms its native range covers the entire eastern United States. It belongs in American soil by every biological measure. One established clump harvested in July replaces $90 annually in respiratory supplements, permanently expanding every season. The mistake most growers make is cutting hard after first bloom, removing the secondary July flush carrying peak thymol concentration. That single cut eliminates the most medicinally valuable harvest of the entire season. That secondary July flush is open right now, and it closes within 2 weeks, taking peak thymol concentration with it for another full year. And we haven't even reached number 10 yet. The herb serious growers have kept quietly off every mainstream list, but the herb coming next is the one American grandmothers kept separate from everything else in the garden, and there's a July reason why. Plant number 5, goldenrod. Most American growers in their 50s and 60s have spent decades pulling this plant out of their gardens, while paying $60 a year for allergy and urinary support supplements made from its exact compounds. Its golden plumes arch and cascade in July, like something deliberately theatrical. 6 feet of pure medicinal production most growers mistake for a weed. Zones 3 through 9, full sun, average to poor soil. What almost every grower gets wrong is that goldenrod does not cause hay fever. Ragweed does. And that single misidentification has cost generations the most potent urinary herb flowering in their July garden. Documented by USDA Forest Service ethnobotanical records as one of the most widely used Native American medicinal plants. Continuous traditional use for urinary support and wound healing across the entire continent. One established clump harvested at peak July bloom replaces $60 annually in urinary and anti-inflammatory supplements permanently. The mistake most growers make is eliminating it before July harvest, confusing it with ragweed entirely. That single error costs them $60 back to the supplement aisle and another full season without it. Peak goldenrod potency arrives the moment those plumes fully open in July. Wait until August, and the medicinal window closes for a full year. What plant or spot in your yard has defeated everything you have tried? Drop it below. And the herb coming next is the one American grandmothers kept separate from everything else. Tall, ancient-looking, with a July harvest secret most modern growers have never been shown. Plant number 6, elecampane. This plant grows 6 feet tall in July, blooms like a wild sunflower, and carries one of the most documented respiratory support roots in traditional American and European apothecary practice. Replacing $100 a year in lung and bronchial supplements, most American families are still buying every single winter. Its presence in a July garden is unmistakable, towering, ancient, looking, commanding every inch of border it occupies. Zones 3 through 8, full sun to part shade, moist, deep soil. What almost no modern source explains is that elecampane root contains inulin, simultaneously supporting gut health and respiratory lining, making it one of the only traditional herbs documented for dual digestive and lung support in one harvest. Documented by University Extension herbal monographs as a continuously used respiratory and digestive herb since pre-pharmacy colonial practice. One mature root harvested in its second July season replaces $100 annually in respiratory supplements, compounding permanently. The mistake most growers make is harvesting in year one before inulin concentration reaches medicinal density. That impatience costs the full respiratory yield and sends them back to spending $100 that winter. Campaign root reaches full inulin density in its second July. Mark your planting date now, because that harvest window is tied directly to the calendar. The herb arriving next was prescribed by American doctors before 1900. Now it sits in supplement bottles at $7 each, and its July connection is something most growers have never been told about. Plant number 7, feverfew. American doctors prescribed this plant for head pain and fever management before 1900. Today, that same documented traditional use sits inside supplement bottles, selling for $7 each, while feverfew blooms in cheerful white July clusters in gardens across every growing zone in this country. Its ferny green foliage and tiny white daisy flowers make it one of the most quietly beautiful herbs in any July garden. Zones 5 through 9, full sun to part shade. Well, drained soil. What almost no grower realizes is that feverfew's parthenolide concentrates in leaves during active July flowering, not after bloom fades, making the harvest window a precise 2-week period most growers miss entirely. Documented by NCCH as a traditionally studied herb for head pain management with continuous use in American and European household practice since pre-pharmacy generations. One established plant harvested correctly in July replaces $84 annually in headache supplement costs, compounding every season. The mistake most growers make is harvesting after blooms fully fade, collecting leaves when parthenolide has already dropped to its lowest seasonal concentration. That timing error eliminates the primary active compound and wastes the entire July harvest. That 2-week parthenolide window is open right now. Once those blooms fade, it closes until next season. The story I mentioned at the start, the woman in Ohio spending $55 a month on supplements while these plants flowered in her backyard. That is coming shortly. And the plant arriving next quietly replaced American medicine cabinet staples for 2 full generations before the pharmacy industry made everyone forget. Earlier at the start of this video, I mentioned a woman in Ohio spending $55 every month on supplements. This is that story. Margaret, Zone 5, discovered her grandmother's July garden photographs while clearing the family home, recognized Echinacea and feverfew in those pictures, then realized those exact plants grew wild along her own back fence, unharvested every summer, confirmed by Ohio State University Extension, while she spent $660 annually at the supplement aisle. That first July harvest eliminated $660 from Margaret's annual supplement bill, permanently, starting with plants that had been growing free on her own property for years. Most people clicked away 10 minutes ago. You did not. And plant number 8 is the reason serious growers stay until the end. Because what Valerian does in a July garden and what it replaces in a medicine cabinet is something most gardening channels have never researched deeply enough to find and tell you straight. Plant number 8, Valerian. American families are spending $80 a year on sleep aid supplements standardized from this exact root, while Valerian stands 4 to 5 feet tall in July gardens across zones 4 through 9, flowering in soft white clusters, its root quietly accumulating the valerianic acid compounds that made it a household medicine cabinet staple for 2 full generations, before the supplement industry bottled and priced it. Zones 4 through 9, full sun to part shade, moist fertile soil. What most growers never learn is that valerian root must be harvested in autumn of its second year. July is when valerianic acid moves upward into flowering stems, temporarily dropping root concentration to its seasonal low. Documented by NCCH as a traditionally studied herb for sleep and anxiety support with continuous household use in American and European practice since pre-pharmacy generations. One mature second-year root harvested correctly replaces $80 annually in sleep supplements, permanently compounding every season. The mistake most growers make is harvesting in midsummer, pulled by the July flowering display, stripping roots at their weakest medicinal point. That single timing error cost the full valerianic acid yield, and another $80 back to the supplement aisle. Mark your Valerian planting date today, because that autumn's second-year harvest window is the only moment this root delivers its full sleep support yield. The plant that comes next was prescribed by American doctors before 1900. Now it sits in supplement bottles at $7 each, And its July story is one most growers have never been told. Plant number 9. St. John's Wort. American doctors prescribed this plant for mood and nerve support before 1900. Today, those same documented uses sit inside supplement bottles at $7 each, while it blooms in brilliant yellow July clusters across zones 3 through 9. Petals edged in black dots that mark peak medicinal potency unmistakably. That cheerful yellow presence hides one of the most serious medicinal histories in American botanical practice. Zones 3 through 9, full sun, well-drained soil. What almost no grower knows is that St. John's Wort's black petal dots contain hypericin, the primary traditionally studied compound, and those dots visually confirm that July harvest timing is exactly right. Documented by NCCHA as one of the most continuously studied traditional mood, support herbs in American and European household practice since pre-pharmacy generations. One established plant harvested at peak July bloom replaces $84 annually in mood support supplements, compounding permanently every season. The mistake most growers make is harvesting before those black dots fully develop, collecting blooms days too early at lowest hypericin concentration. That timing error eliminates the primary active compound and wastes the entire July harvest. Those black dots are your harvest signal, fully developed in July, gone by August, and the hypericin window closes with them for another full year. Plant 10 is the one serious growers keep quiet about. Most people confuse it with a weed, and that single mistake costs them $150 a year, and its July harvest window closes in 3 weeks. Plant number 10, Skullcap. This is the herb serious growers have kept quietly off every mainstream list, a Native American woodland plant producing small blue-purple July flowers that most growers walk past as a weed, while spending $150 a year on nerve, calm and anxiety supplements standardized from its exact compounds. Its understated July bloom is the opposite of showy, and that is precisely why most growers never recognize what they are dismissing. Zones 5 through 9, part shade to full sun, moist rich soil. What almost no source tells you is that skullcap is one of the only native North American herbs documented for nerve calm in both Native American and colonial household practice. Bayacalin accumulates in aerial parts during active July flowering only. Documented by University Extension herbal monographs as a traditionally used nerve and anxiety herb with unbroken American household practice since pre-pharmacy generations. One established plant harvested at peak July bloom replaces $150 annually in nerve calm supplements, compounding every season. The mistake most growers make is misidentifying skullcap as a woodland weed and eliminating it before July harvest. That single misidentification costs them $150 back to the supplement aisle, and the most quietly powerful nerve herb in the American native landscape. Skullcap's July harvest window closes in 3 weeks. Bayacalin drops the moment flowering peaks and stems begin to set seed. Drop your state in the comments right now. Your USDA zone completely changes which of these herbs performs at full medicinal strength for you. And the plant arriving next carries one of the most quietly documented histories in American colonial medicine, and most growers have never once considered growing it. Plant number 11, marshmallow root. American families are spending $70 a year on gut lining and throat support supplements built from this exact plant, while marshmallow root stands 5 feet tall in July, blooming in soft pale pink flowers that look like miniature hibiscus. Its massive mucilage, rich root quietly building the medicinal yield that made it a colonial household staple for respiratory and digestive care across every American growing zone. Zones 3 through 9, full sun to part shade, moist deep soil. What almost no source explains is that marshmallow root's medicinal mucilage releases most effectively in cold water infusion, not hot tea, making preparation method the entire difference between medicine and flavored water. Documented by University Extension herbal monographs as a traditionally used gut lining and throat support herb with continuous American colonial household practice since pre-pharmacy generations. One mature second. Year root replaces $70 annually in gut and throat supplements, compounding every season permanently. The mistake most growers make is harvesting in the first July season before mucilage concentration reaches full density. That impatience costs the full gut lining yield, and another $70 back to the supplement aisle. July bloom is your signal that marshmallow root is entering its second year peak. Mark the calendar now because autumn of this year is when that root delivers its full mucilage yield. And the plant arriving next is one American grandmother's grew specifically for the heart and nervous system. Its July harvest window is narrow, its supplement replacement value is real, and almost nobody grows it anymore. Plant number 12. Mother Wort. American grandmothers grew this plant specifically for heart calm and nervous system support, spending nothing. While today those same documented traditional uses sit inside supplement bottles priced at $60 a year, and Mother Wort stands tall in July gardens across zones 4 through 8. Its whorled pink-purple flowers marking peak harvest with unmistakable precision. It is one of the oldest continuously used heart support herbs in American colonial household practice, zones 4 through 8, full sun to part shade, average soil. What almost no modern source explains is that Motherwort's square stem is the botanical identifier separating it from look. Alike weeds, harvesting the wrong plant eliminates every dollar of medicinal value before the jar is filled. Documented by University Extension herbal monographs as a traditionally used heart, calm, and nervous system herb, with continuous American colonial household practice since pre-pharmacy generations. One established plant harvested at peak July bloom replaces $60 annually in heart, calm supplements, compounding every season. The mistake most growers make is harvesting after whorled flowers drop, collecting stems past their Leonarine peak. That timing error eliminates the primary active compound and sends them back to spending $60 a year. Mother Wort's Leonarine peak arrives when those whorled flowers are fully open in July, and that window closes in 2 weeks when stems begin setting seed. Plant 13 is the one serious July growers keep quiet about. Its July harvest window closes in 3 weeks, and what it does that no catalog has ever explained is something this channel researched specifically for the growers still watching right now. Plant number 13, Blue Vervain. Serious July growers keep quiet about this plant, a tall Native American herb producing violet, blue candelabra spikes that mark peak harvest with botanical precision. While its documented traditional use for nerve tension and stress support replaces $90 a year, in supplements most American families are still buying every single month. Its bloom spikes open bottom to top in July, a built-in harvest timer most growers never learn to read. Zones 3 through 8, full sun to part shade, moist average soil. What almost no source explains is that Blue Vervain's spike opens bottom to top across 2 to 3 weeks. Peak harvest falls precisely when the lowest third of flowers are open, and the upper 2/3 remain in tight bud. Documented by USDA Plants Database and University Extension ethnobotanical records as a Native American nerve tension herb with continuous traditional use in colonial and Native American household practice. One established plant harvested at that precise July moment replaces $90 annually in stress supplements, compounding every season. The mistake most growers make is waiting until the entire spike is open, harvesting at lowest medicinal concentration. That error costs them the full nerve, support yield, and another $90 back to the supplement aisle. That precise harvest window on Blue Vervain is open right now. Lower third flowering, upper buds tight, and it closes within 10 days. What comes next is the plant serious herbalists never talk about publicly. Its July window is the only month it matters, and what it delivers in a single season has not appeared on any mainstream gardening channel. Plant number 14, Astragalus. American families are spending $120 a year on immune supplements standardized from this exact root, while Astragalus grows quietly in July gardens across zones 5 through 9. Its delicate compound leaves giving no hint of the thick yellow taproot building 4 years of immune compound concentration beneath the soil. It is the most underplanted immune herb in the American garden, and the supplement industry depends on that fact remaining unknown. Zones 5 through 9, full sun, deep well, drained soil. What almost no grower understands is that Astragalus root requires 4 full growing seasons before polysaccharide concentration reaches the density used in documented traditional immune practice, making it the longest investment on this list and the most permanent. Documented by NCCH as a traditionally studied immune support herb with continuous use in American integrative household practice for generations. One mature 4-year root replaces $120 annually in immune supplements, compounding permanently after harvest. The mistake most growers make is harvesting in year 2 or 3 before polysaccharide density reaches medicinal threshold. That impatience costs them the full immune yield and another $120 back to the supplement aisle for years longer than necessary. Plant astragalus this July and mark your calendar 4 years forward. That investment window does not shorten. Have you ever grown astragalus directly in your garden? Not a pot? Not a greenhouse? Drop it below. And the plant arriving next has been in American soil since before the revolution. Its July harvest window is narrow, its dollar return immediate, and almost every grower underestimates it completely. Plant number 15. Yarrow. The USDA Forest Service ethnobotanical records document yarrow as one of the most widely used Native American wound, healing and fever management herbs across the entire continent, while American families spend $55 a year on first aid and fever supplements built from its exact compounds. And yarrow spreads in flat white July colonies across every growing zone in this country, completely unrecognized. Its feathery gray-green foliage and broad white flower heads are unmistakable in any July garden. Zones 3 through 9, full sun, well-drained average soil. What almost no source tells you is that yarrow contains echinacea, studied for supporting blood clotting response, documented by USDA Forest Service ethnobotanical records, as the reason Native American healers applied fresh yarrow leaves directly to wounds across dozens of tribal traditions. One established clump harvested at peak July bloom replaces $55 annually in wound care supplements, compounding and self-seeding permanently every season. The mistake most growers make is harvesting after flat clusters begin to brown, collecting blooms past peak echinacea concentration. That timing error eliminates the primary wound support compound and wastes the most productive July harvest window entirely. Yarrow's July window is open the moment those flat white clusters reach full open. Brown edges mean echinacea has already peaked and dropped. Did you believe yarrow was only a wildflower weed with no serious medicinal history? And the final plant on this list ties every growing zone together. Wild bergamot, and what it quietly replaces, has surprised every serious grower who has researched it. Plant number 16, wild bergamot. This Native American herb has grown across every zone from 3 through 9 since before the Revolution, used by Native American healers for respiratory and digestive support, adopted by colonial households as a tea herb replacement after the Boston Tea Party, and quietly replacing $60 a year in respiratory and digestive supplements for every American grower who still knows what it is. It's lavender. Purple July crowns are one of the most beautiful closers any herb garden produces. Zones 3 through 9, full sun, dry to average soil. What almost no source connects is that wild bergamot contains both thymol and carvacrol, the same dual antimicrobial compounds in commercial oregano oil products at $40 a bottle. Documented by USDA Plants Database and Native American ethnobotanical records as a continuously used respiratory herb across dozens of tribal traditions before European settlement. One established clump harvested at peak July bloom replaces $60 annually in respiratory supplements, self-dividing and expanding permanently every season. The mistake most growers make is harvesting leaves before bloom crowns fully open, collecting foliage at lowest thymol and carvacrol concentration. That timing error eliminates both active compounds and wastes the entire July medicinal harvest. Wild bergamot crowns at full open in July. That is your thymol and carvacrol window, and it closes within 2 weeks when petals begin dropping. 3 things about these 16 herbs that almost no source puts in one place are coming next, and the first one will change how you look at every supplement bottle you have ever purchased. 3 things about these 16 herbs that almost no source puts in one place. Every single plant on this list peaked in documented American household use between 1820 and 1920, before the pharmacy chain replaced the kitchen garden as the American family's first line of care, a documented shift tracked by USDA agricultural history records. 16 plants grown together in zones 3 through 9 replace between $600 and $900 in annual supplement costs, permanently, compounding that return every July without reinvestment. Not one of these 16 plants requires annual repurchasing. Every root deepens, every clump divides, every self-seeder expands the July harvest permanently without a single additional dollar after year 1. The third fact is this: every American grower who plants even 4 of these 16 herbs this July will recover their full planting cost before the first autumn harvest closes, documented by University Extension Cost. Comparison analyses of homegrown medicinal herb value versus retail supplement pricing. Here is exactly where to begin, based on your zone, right now. Here is exactly where to begin. Zone to plants to dollar. Zones 3 through 5 start with Echinacea, Yarrow, and Valerian this July. 3 plants replacing $255 annually in immune, wound care, and sleep supplements from a combined investment under $25. Zones 5 through 7 add Skullcap, Feverfew, and Wort, bringing total annual supplement replacement to $399 from 6 plants that self-divide and expand that return every season. Zones 6 through 9 add Passionflower, Blue Vervain, Wild Bergamot, and Astragalus to the core cluster, bringing total annual supplement replacement past $600 from plants that permanently self-divide, self-seed, and compound that return every July without reinvestment. Miss this July planting window and your first full medicinal harvest waits another complete year. Every week of delay in zones 6 through 9 is a week of September harvest lost permanently. You just received zone-accurate, dollar-grounded, research-based plant knowledge on 16 healing herbs that replace $600 a year in supplements. The kind of knowledge most American gardening channels have never put in one place. If this video gave you even one herb you had never considered planting this July, hit like now so more American growers find this before the harvest window closes. Drop your state and zone in the comments and tell me which of these 16 herbs you are planting first this July. I read every single one. Subscribe to NaturalVerge, the healing plants your great-grandmother knew are still out there, still flowering every July, and we find them every single week.